loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers.
Welcome back to the Making It Last podcast. This is part 2 of the conversation on friendship or pretendship and knowing the difference with Anthia and Marie Barrymore. If you haven't watched part 1 as yet, please do so, and then come on back to part 2. Do enjoy.
Friendship or pretendship. Yes, a new word. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I was intrigued by that post recently. And for those of you who is your first time joining me, I'm Marie Daly. Now, I saw that recently on somebody's status, yes, on Facebook, and it intrigued me. Friendship or pretendship? How can we know the difference? So I reached out to her, and Anthia Henry Barrymore was gracious enough to say yes, she will do this. Welcome, madam.
I am an individual, you're an individual, and together we make something. I have a life, you have a life. Yeah? And so it's really up to me in my individuality to say that I don't accept calls after 10. A friend respects that. And they try to call beforehand. And if they see 10 o'clock, they might want to assess if this call is a must or I can call Anna tomorrow. On the flip side of it, when you understand that your friend understand and respect your boundary, if you get a call after 10, because you know your friend,
yes,
and you know that the friend respect, you pick the call because it has to be something. Why so-and-so calling me? Because they have always respect the boundaries. A friend understands. A friend understands. And I'm going to do it in parallel, the friendship and the pretendship, so that we don't lose what I said about friendship. And then, so in terms of boundaries, a pretendship can make you feel guilty. Can make you feel guilty when you stand up for the principles that you have set as a person, as opposed to respecting, yes, and trusting that this is what I want. Yeah? Pretendships often make you feel guilty that you have left me out in the cold. You're choosing somebody over me. People even go to the point of saying, now that you're married, come on. In friendship, friends grow. Friends grow together. And so at the end of the day, when I say grow and grow together, I don't mean at the same time. Because something can happen in my life that doesn't happen in yours yet. Yeah? So you're not going to have the same feeling like I do. But if you respect me as a person, you'll trust me that, hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't try to pry into why I can't talk to you now. Respect my decision at that time, and I respect yours. If you feel you need to pray for me, because obviously I'm not opening up to you tonight, then go do that. But don't make me feel guilty. So pretendship makes you feel guilty. Instead of understanding, pretendship undermines as well. So instead of understanding, pretendship undermines. And pretendships are subtle. So you won't pick it up real quickly. If you follow Miss Daly, what I laid out first, then you can pick up your pretendships quickly, because you would have taken your time to process and to analyze and to understand before you let that person in your space. But if you run quickly to friendships, you might not pick it up. Also, let me make a notation. if the person, as what happened to me, is not in your presence, let's say it's a long distance friendship, you might not pick up pretendship because you can't get to read the body language. Some people, they talk to you on the phone, and they roll up their eyes, can't wait for you to done. You're not seeing that. But when you have a friend close up and personal that you can read body language, you can say, I just said something a while ago, you never look so right. What happened? I saw your face change. Then you put the person on the spot to tell you what's happening. So friendships understand, they don't undermine. Friendship respect, they don't make you feel guilty. The other thing about friendship as well, whatever I do, I have to live by the scriptures. That's my life, right? And it says that a friend sticks closer than a brother. Now that term that phrase is deep, because when you talk about blood, yeah, people talk about blood thicker than water and all of this. Sometimes you have family eruptions, but it's your blood. And if something goes, you might not have spoken to that family member for years, but if something go wrong with them and you have a heart, you go and feel. So when he says that a friend sticker closer than a brother, closer than a brother, it simply means that that friend has your back.
Yes.
Yeah? That friend loves you, Miss Daly, through whatever. Through your mistakes. Yes? Love you through your folly. Through thick and thin. No, it's not that that friend is not going to tell you that, hey, Noreen, what are you doing right now? Not really. We not really stand for it. We just want to tell us, say, I know the right thing you do. We just want to make you know that. But at the same time, what? The person can pray for you. What if you're entering into a relationship that your friend knows, based on what they see, it's not for you? As tough as it is, that friend, if it's a friend, cannot choose for you. That friend has to allow you, tell you. Yeah. Pretendships don't tell you. If you have a friend, no, understand me, we're not to be quick to correct, we're to step back, analyze. But if at the end of that process, you and I are friends, yeah? And I see you heading somewhere where you're not to go and I don't tell you. And when it happens, I am going to say to you, I saw it, but I should have told you. That's pretendship. You know why? Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you why. Let me just complete this thought and then. You know why it's pretendship? It would have meant that there's a gap in that friendship and a gap in that relationship. There's a trust gap. There's a gap that said to the person, I don't know if I say it, what's going to happen. And if you have such a friend or a friendship, you need to close that gap. There should be a level of comfort, a comfort level. If you know that this person got your back on both sides, to know that I can say to Noreen, and Noreen would understand that I'm not coming from anywhere else except that I have her back. Yeah? And Noreen should also understand that the fact that Anna said, Anna, because she want me man, but she's really looking out for me. We have to assess Miss Daly and look at the intricacies that is happening in the relationships that we call friendships.
We take a break to get a word from our partners.
You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past, we're making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at langdolanguage@gmail.com. Because the real question is, how can we help you?
Photography is an art, but more so, photography must come from the heart. Precious moments, priceless times. Take a pic and know it will turn out fine.
BMC Photography JA. Beautiful moments captured. Let's go.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it last.
Welcome back as we continue the conversation regarding friendship and pretendship.
One of the things you said earlier was the whole idea that it takes time. You do recognize that there are times when you might meet somebody and there's an instant can be relative for a lot of people. There's that instant connection. How then do you account for that when time isn't necessarily a factor?
All right. So you're
connection?
talking about hitting it off as chemistry, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So you just know that this person, is going to be your friend? Or is your friend?
Or no. There is such a connection that is made, chemistry, whichever way people want to label it, and you find yourself sharing things that you probably it would probably take months for you to share with somebody else, and maybe in a matter of days or maybe in a matter of hours, you feel such a connection with that person that you share certain, maybe even intimate things with that person, and in your mind, you then count them as a friend. All right, so that's one. So vulnerability is what you're talking about right there, and openness. That's one aspect and one characteristic of a friend. And guess what happened? That is not even unique per se to friendship. Because in my profession, I'm not my client's friend. But they come, mark you, they're predisposed. That is my profession. So they're coming to talk. Right.
But the truth is, if I may tell you, that even with my profession, it doesn't mean that when a client comes in, they're going to be readily speaking about issues. A connection still has to be built. But the fact is that after that person would have unloaded and spoken about intimate things, it still doesn't mean that we are friends. So of course, you do have one-off moments like that. You do have moments like those. But that I would say would be like the doorway then. The door to open your mind to the fact that, hey, there's something in this person that could be my friend, because that was one aspect of you open to, because friendship is all encompassing. So yes, I will agree with you. There are moments like that, but I still would caution you that the fact that you open to that person at that time still doesn't dictate and qualify for all that friendship would have encompassed.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right. That's what I would say about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend, Miss Daly, compromise instead of criticize.
I like that.
A friend compromise instead of criticize. Remember, you know, that we are individuals, right? So some persons might say, and here again, we have to evaluate carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There's a saying that say, show me your friends and I tell you who you are.
Who you are. Mm-hmm.
And I have seen person defended that's not true. But it is true. It is true. You know why? Remember now, we're debunking all people choose friends. The term is used callously, and that's why we can get up and we can say these things that this is not true and all of that. But if we go through the process of how you call that person friend, and let me ask you a question, and you analyze this with me, process this with me. If a friend sticks closer than a brother, we're talking about intimacy. We use, and intimacy is not just sexual, people. Right. Intimacy is closeness. So sometimes when we use the word intimate, we think of sex only. No, it's closeness, it's togetherness, it's bonding, right? And so we use words like vulnerability, being vulnerable to the person, and all of these things. No, it means that you're going to be spending time together. When you're in the presence of your friend, Miss Daly, you're not to feel uncomfortable. There's a gap there that needs to be closed. You're not to feel uncomfortable. You're not to feel as though you're walking on eggshells. So I have to be careful. There's a gap there that needs to be closed. To call it friend, it's not friendship yet. It's heading to something. It's heading to friendship, but it's not friendship yet, right? And so at the end of the day, when you're with this person, you're spending time with this person. Let me bring it home in a practical way. Your friend, in the truest sense of what the word should mean, should share your values, similar values.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yes.
You maintain your own individuality, but values, because look at this now. I can't say that you're my best friend or you're my friend. And yet, before you leave your house, you have to think about coming in my space. Because the things that I'm doing in my space don't fit your values. So my best friend, I don't smoke and I don't drink. And I don't watch pornography. Those are not my values. My best friend cannot be somebody who feasts on this. Remember, we're talking about, we have acquaintances, we have associates, and we have the path to an end product named friendship. So therefore, when I'm in your space, we're sharing the values. Yes, it makes the space more comfortable and more accepting. I feel comfortable in my skin. I don't feel off. Your friendship is a safe space. So you go to your acquaintance's place and you're good. You don't worry yourself over the fact that they're listening to that, because you just popped by to drop off something. You're going to be going. Your associate, they do this to you at work, they behave this way at work. You're going home. You're going home. You don't live at work. You don't live at work. So your friendship is like another home. So when you leave, when I leave my home to tell my husband that I'm going to look for a friend, I'm going to another safe space in a different way. That's friendship. So you need to share the same values or similar values. Sure. If we share the same values as Christianity, because we're individuals, we have different opinions, but we're on the same topic, the same value.
I do know though, and as we're
Yes.
wrapping up, I do know that in any relationship, whichever type, there are going to be rough spots. How can you not just think that, okay, maybe this is just a rough spot, but it is actually an indication that it is a pretendship and not a friendship?
You don't assume. Everything is evidence-based. Because one of the things that I did make a post about, if you're a friend, it was included in the post. If we're friends and you detect that something is happening, yeah? And you heard that I said something. If we're friends, Miss Daly, you have to validate. You have to come to me and say, Noreen, as hard as it is for me to ask you this, because I almost know that you wouldn't say it, but the fact that it's bothering me, I'm going to ask you. You know, I went to so-and-so and I don't know. I shared something with you and I kind of hear it, you know, or talk to your friend, give your friend a chance to speak. Because sometimes coincidences do happen. People put things on things, trash it out, go to the person. That's what the Bible teaches. That's true friendship. Never walk. I said in the post that a true friend doesn't walk away from a friendship that they value just like that, without a resolve. I am going to say that was not, you don't walk away from something that you value without approaching and trying that valuable thing that you have made investment in stays. So we talk about it. We validate whatever we hear, whatever we see, and there's always room for resolution. There's always room for clarification because you have something called perception that is not always correct.
Just so that at the end of this conversation, somebody might not think that, oh, she's just bitter. She was just burnt recently. You know, what would be your no, because somebody might say, why is she bitter? But I don't sense that it's coming from any bitterness. I think it has been a learning experience. And I have my own story. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. So what would be your word or a bit of advice to somebody? Or because at the end of the day, it's not for you to
decide for anyone.
Are clear that if that is if that's their interpretation, their perception, so be it. But what would you want, if they got nothing else from the conversation? What is it you'd want them to say, this is the one idea I want you to get from all that I've shared?
All right.
From this conversation.
It's not bitter, it's becoming better, right? And just to clarify, as I said before, that post came a month after, which means that if it was from bitterness, it would have been right away on fire. It came from a place of processing, and it came from a place of listen, because these relationships affects us even long after the person is gone. You have yourself to deal with. My being here, just want to say, I'm not saying to person, go attack. No, it's not attack. It's more of an introspection for me as a friend and for an evaluation on your side for your friendship. Because the truth is, what we want all around is healthy marriages, healthy friendships, healthy relationships. This is what the podcast is, healthy relationships, which friendship is a part of. So I am not here to vent because it would not be fair to your audience, right? And I don't even feel wronged. It was just an eye-opener for me in terms of, hey, guess what happened? As you move forward, begin to look a little bit more. And the truth is, there's always room in terms of, it's just your space. It's just your space. Your space is personal, and you have responsibility for your space. You have responsibility for your mental health. You have responsibility for your self-care, and looking into the idea and analyzing and assessing what you now call friendship is a good place to start to being healthy about relationships. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Excellent note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anne-Marie Barrymore.
Yes, ma'am.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for